It's Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. I wanted to make a video today to recap and discuss a few events, go over a few articles with you. And one thing I want to discuss is this Moderna phase 1. Yesterday, Dow Jones up over 900 points. Today, it's down, Dow Jones down almost 400 points. Why is that? Well, the phase 1 with Moderna, turns out the whole thing was basically a sham. They pumped it up, and a few people at Moderna, the head of Moderna, made millions of dollars. Don't people see the fraud that is taking place in these markets, where somebody, a head of a billion-dollar pharmaceutical company, can just pump everything up and then dump it, making millions and millions of dollars? How many people out there have all this inside information? How many people out there have the ability, this influence, to just come out and say something and just make a market soar? And people like this do, and they make millions of dollars doing it. And people just can't admit the fraud and manipulation that's taking place in these markets. People making millions upon millions of dollars. Do you have the ability to do this? Do you have the tools and resources to be able to do this? Do you have the inside knowledge to do this? No, you probably do not. But people like this and heads of company like Moderna can do this. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. But yet, people believe there's no manipulation, there's no fraud. But clearly, again today, we find out that the whole thing was a sham and the whole thing is dumped. Another phase 1. Last summer, it was phase 1 with China. Now it's phase 1 with pharmaceutical companies. Anything they say now can hit these algorithms and make these markets soar. Wow. These people make multi-millions of dollars. What an advantage they have over the average Joe. Article today on Bloomberg. Loaded with cash, real estate buyers wait for sellers to crack. That's on Bloomberg today. The world's biggest real estate investors are sitting on piles of cash preparing for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I think that we've discussed that a multitude of times here. Keep your powder dry. The sales are coming, and these investors are well aware of it. Right now, it's about stacking cash. It's about stacking gold, silver. It's about being patient. It's about not making big purchase items. The sales are coming. Remember, distress takes time to play out, and there is a lot of distress coming. This is just the beginning of this collapse. Keep your powder dry. Stack cash. The sales are coming. Private equity firms and hedge funds like Blackstone and Brookfield Asset know all about this, and they are licking their chops for the sales that they're going to gobble up. And you really have to think like these hedge funds, like central banks, like these giant equity firms. You've got to think like this. Right now is not the time to be going out buying big screen TVs or cars or houses. The time will come, and people, the smart people and the smart money are going to capitalize on this. So be patient. Here's another article today. Over 4 million Americans are now skipping their mortgage payments, and more are coming. And the question is, what if things don't bounce back like everyone is hoping that things are going to bounce back like they say they are? What if it doesn't happen? Forbearance is only prolonging the inevitable. And millions of these people are probably going to lose their homes. And again, these are the sales. And, you know, I'm not here to capitalize on somebody's loss, but at the same time, I connected the dots. I took a good look at what was going on, and I had to make a commitment to make some sacrifices over the last few years in order to capitalize on what's coming. While people were out there blasting photos on social media, buying houses they couldn't afford, leasing cars they couldn't afford, buying the Nike, you know, the $400 Nike gym shoes, you know, putting all this on credit cards, putting everything on credit. And if you think I'm going to feel sorry for all those people, I'm not. I'm going to capitalize the best that I can. I made sacrifices. I saved money. I had to cut things out of my life just like many of you had to. And many of us had to cut things out just to have a cash reserve in case of emergency. You know, while people were just going out there continually spending with money they didn't have, buying things they didn't even need, buying things to impress people they don't even know or don't even like. And we're supposed to feel sorry for these people. Now, granted, there's going to be people out there that are going to take a huge hit that maybe didn't deserve this, lost a job, 2 people in a household that lost a job. My heart goes out to those people like that. But look, at the end of the day, I connected the dots a few years ago, and I had to make plans for what's coming. And this is going to be the biggest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. It's going to be harsh. It's going to be cruel. There are going to be winners and there are going to be losers. And right now, you need to decide, are you going to be on the winning side or are you going to be a victim of this financial collapse? I choose to survive it. I choose to capitalize on it. I choose to take advantage of the opportunities. And again, these are choices that we had to make a few years ago, and we had to cut a lot of things out of our lives in order to stack the assets, to stack the cash, to cut the debts down. A lot of people just couldn't give up the spending. They couldn't give up buying the toys. They couldn't give up ordering something on Amazon on a daily basis because they love the packages just arriving at their house so they have something to open. America has been addicted to spending money they don't have, and they're going to pay a very cruel price for it. Hedge today, U.S. housing starts, permits plunge to 5-year lows. This should be a telltale sign of what we're about to see with this economy. Housing starts fell 30.2% month over month in April, worse than the 26% drop that was expected. This is a record drop. We've never seen anything like this. Building permits fell 20.8% month over month in April. So housing starts and building permits both falling drastically. And look, I don't think that it's going to shock anybody out there by me saying that I believe we're going to see one of the most severe housing crashes we've ever seen in American history. Here's an article on wolfstreet.com. Canadian home sales see worst April since 1984. Montreal and Toronto lead lower. So it's not going to be just a problem here in America. It's going to be a problem in Canada. It's going to be a problem in the UK. It's going to be a problem all over the world. But there is a lot of Canadian money that comes down here, especially to California and other parts of the country. But specifically, just speaking about my area here in Southern California, we have a lot of Canadian money that comes down here. And what's going to happen as the Canadians now are sitting on a housing bubble, they're going to have their own real estate trouble. That money is not going to come down here buying second homes. And so that's going to affect our sales. Look, we're not seeing the Asian money coming out here, the Chinese money coming out here like we once did. And that's really going to affect some of the luxury real estate that we have out in Orange County, LA, San Diego, where you had a lot of Asian money coming and buying. Big changes are coming to the real estate market, and I don't have to tell anybody out there how bad it's going to be in commercial real estate. Newswars.com, 68% of unemployed workers in the U.S. are eligible for payments that are greater than their lost earnings. This is fascinating. Explain to me how we're going to motivate unemployed workers to go back to work when most of them can actually make more money sitting on their sofas watching Netflix. This is going to be another problem, getting people back to work to earn less money than they're being paid to sit at home. So, let me be clear. I am not condemning anybody sitting at home getting assistance that needs assistance. But at the end of the day, 68% of unemployed workers in the U.S. are eligible for payments that are greater than their actual earnings. We are rewarding people to sit at home. And now it's going to be very difficult to motivate people to come back to work. Unemployment plus $600 bonuses makes for a powerful incentive to stay unemployed for as long as the bonuses last. And if you need assistance, I'm glad that you're getting it, and I hope that you are getting it. I read something today that over 40% of people who filed for unemployment still haven't even gotten their unemployment checks. Staggering. And I know that there are millions of people out there that need help, but I just believe that rewarding people with more money to sit at home than they were actually making at their jobs, it's really defeating the purpose here. I think it's really sending a very negative message. Fox News, North Carolina Transportation Department furloughs more than 9,000 employees. I had multiple people send me this article. The North Carolina Transportation Department told its employees to take unpaid time off until the end of June to help the department to save money. Look, the states, the local municipalities are in huge trouble, but 9,300 employees, to be exact, are being furloughed without pay. What does this mean for unemployment? More people unemployed here in America. More people are going to be burning through any cash savings that they have. This is just unbelievable. Here's another article on the hedge. For lease, the commercial real estate apocalypse in photos. A very good article. And in the article, they have a lot of photos of all the for sale and for lease signs. The commercial real estate market right now, as I make this video, is frozen. And it is in extremely serious trouble. It is hemorrhaging. Data compiled by Morgan Stanley showed a quarter of all commercial mortgage-backed securities could be on the verge of default. And delinquencies continue to surge. And again, in this article, if you pull it up on the hedge, they just have hundreds of pictures, a lot of them in Florida, for lease signs on these buildings. And who's going to lease all these buildings if people are having their credit decimated right now? Many people losing their businesses who aren't going to be going back into business. People now staying at home to work. Who is going to absorb all this vacant commercial real estate? Again, we have never been where we are at right now. We've never been in this place. We are in uncharted water. And, I think the only thing I can say is we've never seen uncertainty at this level before. But what we do know is things are pointing to get worse. Things are pointing to get very, very bad financially here in America. Another article on the hedge today, Walmart hits all-time high on blowout earnings. I have a real issue with Walmart. Most of you know that I probably stopped shopping there 6, 7, 8 months ago. Their first quarter revenue was $134.622 billion. Remember, all the small retailers had to close down. All the little restaurants are closed down. But places like Walmart are allowed to stay open because they're essential. But as I've said time after time, if you want to really make a change, if you really want to be a part of something, be cautious and conscious of where you spend your money and your time. I would do whatever I had to do not to spend $1 at a Walmart, and I have not walked into a Walmart in a very long time, and I will not. I look for any other option than to walk in and shop and give this company a dime of my money. And when we look at what China has done to America, when we look at the millions of jobs that have been sent over to China and Asia, but the devastation now that has been caused by China, the loss of lives here in America, why would anybody step foot into a Walmart? 90+% of everything in Walmart is from China. Now, look, I get it. Walmart may be the only store in your area, and you may be forced to shop there. I understand that. But if you have any other option, maybe even if you have to pay a little bit more, my goodness, you know, start speaking up with your wallet and your money. Go to any other store than a Walmart. They do not deserve your time. They do not deserve your business, and they certainly do not deserve your money. I just cannot stand this store. So I'm going to leave it at that. But remember, start speaking with your wallet. Article today on the economic collapse, 10 numbers that show the U.S. has fallen into a horrifying economic depression. And this article made some very, very good points. I think it was by Michael Snyder, if I'm correct. For the people out there that believe this is just going to go away, that believe everything, that life's going to go back to normal with the flip of a switch, I'm here to tell you otherwise. Simply just look at the facts of where we're at right now, and that is going to tell you we are not going back to where we once were a couple months ago. Look, the economy was collapsing last year. The economy started collapsing back in 2008. We are not going to stop what is coming. And when you look at some of the reasoning, this should reinforce to every one of you, including myself, why we must continue preparing, why we're not going to buy a house right now, why we're not going to buy a car right now, why we will continue to stack gold, silver, cash, even cryptos, why we're going to continue to have security, food, water, and all types of resources. Very troublesome times are coming to America, and I know that the television is telling you the opposite. More than 100,000 businesses have already permanently shut down here in America. What does that mean? That means that millions of jobs already are not coming back. Over 100,000 businesses have already shut down. Those jobs aren't coming back. That's millions of jobs, period. The Atlanta Fed is now projecting U.S. GDP growth will shrink by 42.8% during the second quarter. We've never have seen anything like this. This economy is not growing. We don't make anything here. We don't manufacture anything here, and that's just a fact. This is a service-based economy. People serve. That's what they do. They drive Lyft and Uber cars. They work at Starbucks. They work at restaurants as servers, bartenders, waiters and waitresses. They work at resorts, folding towels, cleaning laundry, cleaning rooms. This is where we're living today. And if you think that all these problems are going to go away because we have a service-based economy, 70% of our GDP is made up by people spending money they don't have. If you think this is all going to be fixed, you're sadly mistaken. Last Friday, we learned retail sales were down 16.4% during the month of April. This is a new all-time high. These numbers are horrific. U.S. factory output was down 13.7% last month, the worst on record. U.S. industrial production fell 11.2% last month, the worst number in 101 years. We know the real unemployment numbers are exceeding 50 million. This is record-breaking. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, the real unemployment rate is now 30.7%. That number is very conservative. I've been reporting it's around 40%. Half of America now is not working. 40% of Americans with a household income of less than $40,000 have lost a job. 42% of job losses will end up being permanent. According to a professor of economics at Columbia University, the homeless population could rise by up to 45% by the end of this calendar year. If you watched a couple of my last videos, look at the car lots. They can't even put another car on the car lots. Look at the rental car companies. They're placing cars at sports stadiums, vacant fields, wherever they can put cars by the thousands. Over here at the Palm Springs Air Museum, there's probably close to 1,000 cars there. I just drove by there again yesterday. There's more than there were when I made the video. The homeless epidemic is not going away. It's going to get worse. Throughout the last year, I've shot videos, showed you the homeless problem out here in Southern California. It is getting much, much worse. And many of the new people that are going to become homeless aren't going to have mental disabilities. They're not going to have drug addictions. They're not going to come from broken homes. They're going to be normal people like you and I who got behind on the bills, got behind on the medical payments, lost the house, lost the car. No car, no way to get to work. If there's no jobs available, there is no work. There's no way to pay the car. Then there's no way to pay the house. So this is going to be a very dangerous cycle that we're going to witness here in America. It's going to be historic, and it's not going to go away. So I'm going to leave it right there today. But before I go, I just want to remind all of you, you are not alone. There are thousands of people watching this video today who think just like you, who are preparing just like you. You are not out of your mind. You are awake. And God bless every one of you for being awake, because this country is going to depend on people like you to be awake. And there's a lot of people waking up, seeing exactly what's happening, watching what's happening in these markets, watching the money going to the top 1%, the top of the pyramid, and it's not trickling down. And I think that if I can say one thing that is a silver lining in all of this, is that people are beginning to wake up and they're seeing the criminality and the fraud in these markets and what's happening at the very top. They're seeing that Wall Street is completely disconnected from reality. It's disconnected from Main Street. It doesn't care about the average American. It's all rigged. It's a Ponzi scheme, and all Ponzi schemes come to an end, and they end badly. And a lot of people are seeing what's happening to small business. A lot of people are seeing that they didn't really have the job security that they thought. And now they are dependent on a government check or a stimulus check in order to just get by. And they don't like what they see. So at least if there's any silver lining, things are being exposed. This economy is being exposed for being fake. And people are now seeing through it. They're seeing that it wasn't as strong as we were being told. I'm going to leave it there today. Continue to prepare. Continue to pray. Walk close to God. Please like this video. Share it with everybody. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. God bless every one of you. Thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch this video. Stay safe out there. Stay awake and keep preparing.